Hello everyone! Welcome to another Let's Play of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. My name is Anna Mardall. I think we are going into the final the final episode for this case. And we're going to prove that Luke Atme is a murderer. I'm a little confused going into this why he tried to frame his own dang self for grand larceny, because I'm pretty sure major grand larceny of like 5 things all worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, well, except for the last one, I'm pretty sure that that's not just like a slap on the wrist in terms of prison time. You know, granted, you may not be going away for, you know, on a death row or something, but I think if you have time to set up an alibi saying that you're not a murderer, maybe you should set up an alibi in which you're like not a murderer because you were buying coffee at Starbucks, as opposed to not a murderer because you were doing something that will send you to prison for the rest of your life. But I'm not an ace detective, so what do I know about alibis? Absolutely nothing. My sis? Why is this a source of surprise to anyone anymore? She shows up at every case. I'm pretty sure she just shows up to, like, have dinner with us now. I don't understand why this is surprising. I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice. So then, she's still alive inside your heart. Like, yes? This is not news? I'm a little confused why this episode keeps insisting that things that happened before didn't happen. I guess it was an attempt to try to not alienate new players to the series, but it's very disorienting for me. Nicky boy! Oh, Mr. Light! Is it true that Detective is the real killer? To be honest, we don't have definitive proof. But he's the only one who could have done it. Wasn't he at Lordly Taylor that night? Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. He was the mastermind behind the mass stuff, guys. Am I literally the only one that's figured that one out? I mean, why would Detective Atme want to kill Kane Bullard? It's almost time. Better go back into the courtroom. I do appreciate that instead of just having Phoenix go, I don't know, when the player is sitting here going, I do know, we've decided to go with the new approach of just making Maya look like she's not very smart, and Phoenix just never corrects her because he doesn't have time, I guess? I'm not sure. It's not really ideal, but it's better, I guess, than Phoenix not knowing over and over again. I need to find some solid proof, and it's gotta happen sooner rather than later.
Now then, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke Atme, please take the stand.
Well, well. How do you do, Sir Lawyer?
I do all right.
I never would have thought to see you acting so recklessly. I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Not when it would have given you your perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Master Mask. I'm sorry. I'm afraid even the great Luke Atme has no idea what you mean.
So he's gonna claim he doesn't know. Alright.
Of course. I have been in the next courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could know what's been going on in here.
Really? You've been in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? That's gonna be interesting. Being tried as Master Mask.
Indeed, it's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example.
So you continue to insist that you are, in fact, Master Mask.
Of course.
Well then, Luke Atme, let us begin with a simple question. On October 12th, at 1 a.m., Kane Bullard was murdered. Where were you at that time?
One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. But don't worry. I will not hold it against you, Sir Judge.
Thank you? All right, Mr. Atme. The night of the murder. Speak. We're all ears.
As you wish, Sir Prosecutor. I was stealing the urn as Master Mask, just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words. But in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder.
The murder, you claim not to know anything about that one. It seems the main point of discussion will be this photo of the crime scene.
Everything else up until now was all part of his plan. There has to be a secret to this picture as well. Even the great Master Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive. Unfortunately, Mr. Atney, we still have to do your cross-examination. A fool is too foolish to know that he is a fool.
You've been hanging out with Francisco. There's really no other option.
I think he's trying to say that you're full of it, Nick.
Yes, hon, I do understand. The only thing that's full of it is his alibi.
Stealing the urn is Master Mask.
This photograph is the proof, correct? Indeed it is. And the man in the photograph is certainly wearing a mask. That is why I am called Master Mask. But conveniently, that also means there is no way to tell who this really is.
What do you mean?
Objection!
Are you saying this is not, in fact, Luke Atney? That it could be an accomplice dressed up as Master Mask to create an alibi? Ha-ho! What an interesting idea. Are you saying that I, Lone Wolf Luke, had an accomplice?
No. If Luke Atney was at KB security during the murder, then the Master Mask in this picture has to be a fake.
Then there really was an accomplice. But right now, I have no idea who it was.
I don't have any idea either.
Baseless objections are just what that guy wants. There's got to be another way, and I'm going to find it.
I think he tampered with the timestamps on the computer. That's what I think. Except, no wait. I've done this before. And the issue is you're not supposed to question, like, the evidence is supposed to be good. The evidence is supposed to be good. So in that case, oh god. The evidence is supposed to be good. Because I always am like, well, maybe it just, maybe it was falsified or something, but you're supposed to be able to trust the evidence to a certain extent. Alright, let's try this one.
I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point. That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken.
You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor
10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent the card out after you began your security watch, remember? Indeed. There was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target.
I see. You truly are evil, aren't you?
Yes, evil is what I am.
Hey Nick, isn't there something odd about this? Detective Atney was proud of his ace detective skills, right? If the urn was stolen from Lord Lee Taylor, well, he was the only one watching it. He'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona.
That's a good point. Although, I'm honestly not sure that that was important to him. But it is weird. You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. Okay, maybe... About this camera that took this photograph. Oh, calm down. It's all too clear what you're thinking. Huh? You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't you?
Yes, I do!
Actually, did you?
I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lord Lee Taylor. And on top of that, if it was Lord Lee Taylor's staff that printed the picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way the picture could have been altered.
I see. Hey, you know what I really like, actually, is that this guy actually seems to want the truth too, and isn't just, like, our adversary for the sake of adversarying. I like that. That's kind of new. I mean, Edgeworth did that a little bit, but not from the beginning. And when he did, it was like indicative of a major character shift. So I really actually like that a lot, because it's almost like this isn't a horrible nightmare dystopia anymore, and it's people trying to arrive at the truth together. And I really like that. It's cooperative. I like that a lot, actually. Just saying. It looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious. So, the alibi is false? It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security. But I'm not spotting anything unusual. There are two possibilities. Either the master mask in the photo is a fake, or the photo itself is. Yes, I agree with that. I think those are the two possibilities. I love this. I haven't loved everything about this case, but I do like that so far I feel like I'm on the same page as Phoenix in terms of what's going on. Okay. So either it's an accomplice, or there's something wrong with the photograph. I really hope it's the photograph one, because the only accomplice would be Desiree, and I don't, like... I don't feel like... Oh, but she was the one who thought to go to his office and get that clue. No, it can't be Desiree. I have to believe. I have to believe in my client and my client's wife. So that means it's gotta be that the photo is counterfeit in some way. How would you counterfeit a photo? Well, you would... I don't know, actually. I mean, I do know, but it would be like messing with the computer. Not. Which supposedly we have to rule out. Okay. We're gonna have to do this through testimony, so which part of his testimony is suspicious? We didn't press on this one, I'm sorry, that's my fault. By photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here. Is that correct? Excuse me. Indeed it is. That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. Why would you set it up, though? Why would you set this up? Why would you set up your own...
Surely even you understand by now.
Worthy Taylor provided the camera. There's no way I could have tampered with it. I don't think I believe that. That means I could not have killed Kane Bullard unless I had an accomplice. Come on, think long and hard about that night. The basement warehouse, and this picture that supposedly captures it. It's got to be here. Isn't there something funny about this picture? Paint. The paint should be Are you implying this picture is a fake? You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a long look around the basement warehouse that night, before the theft took place. And there's something in this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. Very well. Let's hear what you have to say. The funny part is right here. Why, this is a bloodstain. No, baby. No, it's not a bloodstain. That's cute, though. He's a judge. He looks at bloodstains a lot. It makes sense that he would go there. No! Ah, blood! Now this case is getting interesting! You had a body stuffed in a safe! How much more interesting do you need? Not exactly. This stain is pink paint. Oh, just paint? And peach colored at that. No, it's bright pink, if that helps. From blood to peaches, the judge sure loves going on his wild tangents. The problem with this is not the paint. The problem is when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse. It turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen. Yeah, you look worried, don't you? Well, Mr. Wright? What is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains? The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. There's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime, around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized this statue would be the perfect size for covering up paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there on the night the theft took place, and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, the statue should have been there. Oh. Did he do the robbery in advance? To set up his alibi? So like a day or two in advance?
Objection!
But when I went there the day after the theft, the statue of that old bag was sitting in the corner.
Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally? Your Honor, this statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move it that distance.
Ha! In that case, can you prove it?
Can I prove it?
Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why the statue was moved that night?
Can you do it, Nick?
Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it? Why did they move it?
Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you are prepared with your answer. Now then, who was the one who moved the golden statue the night of the crime?
Okay. If he pre-stole the statue, or sorry, not the statue, the urn. If he pre-stole the urn, in order to set up an alibi in advance, then he stole it before the Ami statue even showed up. So, if he did that, then when it came time for the crime to be discovered, he would have hauled out his alibi picture and realized that, oops, the room doesn't match. So he would have needed to move it so that everything matched. Right? So in that case, the criminal would be, or the person who moved it. The answer to the question is Luke moved it. The one who moved the statue is none other than Luke at me.
Come now, Sir Liar. There you go on one of your strange delusions.
Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange delusions? Judge!
It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. Oh, yeah. So he's the only one who could have moved it.
That is indeed very simple. However, why would I want to move a heavy golden statue?
The reason for moving the golden statue, here's where our battle really begins.
Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move the statue?
The reason can be found here in this photograph. Look at me. You pretended to be Master Mass to create an alibi by showing you were at Worthy Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single fatal flaw. If this statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film in a drugstore. That is why you had to move this statue.
A single fatal flaw?
Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does the lie exist?
Well, I mean, here, but we already did that, so I think here, because there's no date, it's just a time.
Naturally, the lie in this photo is in the timestamp.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Atme went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to be at Lordly Taylor at this time.
But what does that have to do with the statue being moved?
Remember, if you will, Your Honor. When was this statue placed beside the warehouse door?
Well,
The statue was taken down to the warehouse on the day of the crime. It was placed there in order to cover up the paint.
Exactly! Luke Atme had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim. In order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place. What the? Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse yet.
oh,
So on the day of the crime, Mr. Atme must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. I used that metaphor. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atme had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He had to make the room match with the way it had been in his photo.
ugh! Order! Order! Mr. Atme, is this true? One moment, Your Honor. Have you forgotten this? What's that? The data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime.
It is true, the camera had been set up by the Lordly Taylor staff. However, the program used to manage that data was yours.
Oh, that's true.
That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data.
Ah!
That's right, I got you.
Order! Order! Mr. Godot, what is the meaning of this? Godot, I warned you about making me wait!
Help! I'm gonna be killed by my video game.
I warned you about making me wait. Okay, I'm okay now. Now put the coffee down.
My 11th cup.
I promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial. Which means I'm still good to the last drop.
However, the defense has a very good point.
A good point. So what? We are all but travelers on a road of infinite points.
I think he's got his points mixed up with other points.
So you say this photo was taken ahead of time? And that the statue was moved in order to make it match? That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied. Which is? That it's only a possibility. I mean, that's... Yeah, you got me there, buddy. I guess that's true. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. Backing away slowly.
That's very true.
What?
No way! Don't fall for that, Your Honor!
Hey, Damask. Yes? If there's no funny business in your actions as Mask Damask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. So, let's hear it. That's a good point. Yeah, you should... Yes, tell us all about it.
Yes, please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the sacred urn.
Godot is actually helping us. Like, these are good questions to ask. This is so different from, like... I don't actually like this trial very much because, I don't know, it's just not really doing anything for me for some reason. But the actual opponent is great. He's helpful and he seems to actually want to find out the truth and... He seems to, like, be moral, which is new. Who is this guy?
I first received the request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box in Zvari. It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handled security by myself to ensure
the crime would go smoothly. And at last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th.
It wasn't valuable. And I would have thought Adrian would have informed you of that. Maybe she didn't? I don't know, I can see her not saying anything. Still, I can also see her saying something. That's pretty much all stuff we've heard before, isn't it?
Yeah, but we will find the truth, hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave.
Truth nuggets. Witness, you're sure there are no mistakes this time?
Zvar.
Very well then. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Alright, what do we want to start with? I mean, we could start with the fact that the urn was not worth anything. I first received a request from Lord Taylor. The urn was placed in a box and sent to a warehouse. Okay. Wait. To security Lord Taylor was becoming deprived for the take care of this speckled damage. Wait. Wait a second. Why did he... Why did he... How did he know it was a speckled urn? If he totally didn't handle it. I hope this isn't wrong. Mr. Atme, if you really are mask to mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct?
But of course.
Is there a problem with the calling card? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card Mask to Mask has written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now, the speckled here surely refers to the pink pattern
on the sacred urn.
Yes, that is true. But so what?
Truth be told, there is no way Master Mask could have known about this pattern.
What do you mean?
This pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains.
Paint stains?
And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken to Lordly Taylor. Another coffee!
I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Trite.
The day the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error. Or should I say an error-prone human. That's not nice. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn.
You can't be serious.
And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Atney had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. Yes! Woohoo, we did it!
Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself?
All right, that did it. He's broken. Nick, I think it's a little early for a victory pose. Huh?
Huh. It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was Master Mask. And now we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle?
Maybe, throwing this out here, maybe that's why trials should take longer than 3 days. Throwing that out there.
That's a good point.
No way. Don't fall for that too, Your Honor.
You say that Luke Atney was the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then let me ask you this. Why would he do that? An excellent point. Motive, Mr. Wright. Motive. Might you, my merry murderous motive manifest?
Nick, he's getting his second wind.
If he prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Ron Delight, as you say, he must have had a strong motive for murder. The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron Delight. Isn't that right, Detective?
Indeed.
According to my own research, the boy's motive is clear. Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Never stopped you guys before. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us as to what the defendant's motives were.
I'd be honored to, Sir Old-Timer.
I'm sorry, what? They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance.
I, Luke Atney, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Mask to Mask and simply mistook who he was. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron DeLite. And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. DeLite for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he has Mask to Mask. That is why Mr. DeLite saw it fit to kill Bullard. Truly a tragedy.
So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant. This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. A handwriting test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter.
What?
Very well, Mr. Wright. Begin your cross-examination.
How do you even know about this if you've been in the... Okay. Alright, think for just a second. Before, when you've had let me think. Before, when you've had clues like this, like the extraneous details were important. Like, for example, what's her face saying she exited from like the left car door or the right car door. Those details mattered. So what are the details here? $1 a.m. October 12th. $50,000. If you don't, I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. It's blue. Does that matter? It must matter. He's been wearing a red diamond on his finger. That red diamond he got as a reward. Fuck. Yes. So it was addressed to that. Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Atme? Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's all right. When you said that this letter was addressed to Rhonda Light, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction. Contradiction?
No, I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying that.
You're one to talk?
At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. Sure. Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior? Indeed, time to man up, Mr. Wright. Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter.
It's this one, right?
Yeah.
Take a good look at this newspaper clipping. It contains a picture of the Tear of Emanon, the stolen jewel.
What about it?
The problem is this jewel's color.
Color? I'm not much for discussing color myself.
According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day.
Red?
Which means the red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the Tear of Emanon that Masdamas stole at all. And your point is, Mr. Trite? You were trying to say this blackmail letter was intended for someone else? That is what you're trying to say, right, Trite?
That is what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Wright?
Well, that is what you're trying to say, right, Nick?
Yes! Goodness, you guys are pushy!
This is who Kane Bullard was actually blackmailing! Naturally, it was you, Detective Atme.
Do you have some sort of basis for that claim?
You have been personally involved in every single mass-to-mass case. And in the last case, you recovered what was stolen. And received a jewel as your reward.
Jewel.
Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. That red diamond ring! That is the diamond referred to in the letter! Which means that Kane Bullard wrote that letter in order to blackmail you. Order in the court.
Objection!
It seems you've gone too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Trent.
I don't like the way he said that.
Kane Bullard, blackmailing Luke Atme. Are you for real?
Yes, I am. Nick, come on, stand up to him.
Then answer me this. The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world.
Yes, it certainly does.
Kane Bullard threatened to make Luke Atme's identity public knowledge. An identity he wanted to keep secret. So what was that identity?
Atme killed Kane Bullard because he was afraid of his secret becoming known. What was the identity he wanted to keep secret? You guys think he's masked in mask! This is what it all comes down to, Nick. The identity that Luke Atme wanted so desperately to keep his secret. Keep secret was his identity as... I mean, he's masked in mask, but technically he's not. Ron is. He's blackmailing masked to mask.
Luke Atme was a blackmailer.
Objection!
Hey now, isn't that a little different from what you've been saying? You said Kane Bullard was the one blackmailing Luke Atme. Are you now saying Atme was blackmailing someone else on top of that?
You have to admit, that does sound a little odd.
It's not odd. It's the only thing that makes sense. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke at me. But Rhonda Light was also being blackmailed by a certain someone.
So, did you start receiving blackmail letters after this incident?
Yes, just a few days after the Tear of Emanon heist. After that, I started getting plans in the mail. I received plans from some very kind person. Incredibly detailed plans.
Detailed plans? In which case, that would mean Rhonda Light was actually Master Mask.
That is what we are claiming. Someone else came up with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. And that someone was none other than Luke at me. Silence! Now I see. It's all becoming clear. What is? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year.
What?
Careless, with a tendency to jump to conclusions. Am I wrong?
How did you...
You say that I, Luke Atme, was blackmailing Rhonda Light. In which case, I would naturally know all about his relation to Master Mask. Well, yes. Rhonda Light started receiving plans from his second crime onward, correct? Which means I learned of his identity when he committed the first crime.
Good point. You certainly couldn't have blackmailed him otherwise.
Are we on 17 yet?
In that case, let's see some hot, bitter evidence. During the first crime, how did Luke Atme know that Rhonda Light was Master Mask?
I mean, this seems likely.
I think I see it. See what? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year.
Really? Really, Phoenix? Is this what we're gonna do?
Gets into lots of mischief, trying to be the center of attention. What do you mean? This newspaper clipping. It has a picture of you and Rhonda Light in his guard uniform. It seems that Master Mask didn't just disappear into thin air. He just took off his outfit and hid it in a bucket.
That sounds far too stupid to be true.
Try defending him, Your Honor. Correct. With tricks like that, he couldn't fool a baby, let alone an ace detective. And that's when you figured it out, Mr. Atme. That's when you learned that under his mask, Master Mask was really Rhonda Light.
What the... Wasn't he supposed to be Master Mask? Looks like he wasn't even an ace detective. He was just a slimy blackmailer.
Why, you! How dare you expose me? I never blackmailed anyone in my life. I'm a famous and proud ace detective and also Master Mask. Why can't you understand that? I'm afraid you are neither a proud thief nor an ace detective.
It's almost kind of sad.
You're a blackmailer and a murderer. That's your true identity. Why, you! How dare you even dare!
I can't keep up! He's broken! Did we break him?
It would seem we finally arrived at the real answer.
That was quite a performance by Mr. Atme.
Bailiff, please prepare a cell for Mr. Atme.
Really? The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim.
What do you mean? I'm already prepared to deliver my ruling.
Allow me to say one thing. I will be the one to judge.
I beg your pardon? Yeah! You don't get much more in your face than that!
It appears that your claws weren't quite sharp enough, Mr. Wright.
Do you want to elaborate? What do you mean?
It's true that you've proven a lot of things. Things like Luke Atme was a filthy blackmailer. And that he wasn't Lordly Taylor the night of the murder.
That's right! That's why he's the one who killed Mr. Bull.
But there's still one thing you have yet to prove.
What's that?
Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that this pitiful excuse of a man was at KB security, I don't see how a verdict can be delivered.
I feel like that's reasonable, yeah. I mean...
Order! Order in the court! Well, Mr. Wright?
This is it. This is the final round. I've got to prove that Atme was at Mr. Bullard's office on that night. But can you really prove that?
That's long enough. Mr. Wright, I want to hear your answer.
That night, Luke Atme was at KB Security and the defense.
We can prove this, we can prove this. How do we prove it? Okay, we just... like fingerprints, or... How do... Maybe... I don't actually know how to prove it. Surely we're supposed to. This is why trials should take more than just 3 days to conduct. Oh god, are we gonna have to go investigate more? I honestly can't think of a way to prove it. Can we not? I can't prove it.
Just as I thought.
You thought that, did you?
But if we hear more of Detective Luke's Atme's testimony...
Objection!
Unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Wright.
What? Why? What do you mean?
I won't allow for any more testimony. That's what I mean.
What do you mean you won't allow? You are not the... Do you think you're in charge here? Why do you think you're in charge here? Why are you in charge here? Why is anyone humoring this? What?
Have you forgotten? Luke Atme is here after we interrupted his own trial. And you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial.
Why are you doing this? I thought you were good. I thought you cared about the truth. I thought you were better than the other prosecutors. My heart is broken. I might actually cry. I'm upset. I thought maybe they had decided to have a prosecutor who wasn't a total... who wasn't willing to subvert justice in order to pursue their own petty grudges, or pad out their resume, or care about their ambitions. I'm so upset.
And face his guilty verdict as Master Mask.
You know he's not Master Mask. You know he's not. No.
Well now, Sir Lawyer. It seems love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective, as well as Master Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delights will verify he is the true murderer.
He's not!
I declare that, with the full force of my ace detectiveness.
Order! Order in the court! That's enough deliberation over this witness!
You were... This is all wrong! I can't believe this! At this rate, Ron is... Don't give up now, Nick! We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence and... By then, it'll be too late. Huh? Why?
Double jeopardy. One of the basic rules of any court of law.
Double jeopardy?
Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime. This is a fundamental rule of all courts, and it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else.
He hasn't been found innocent!
Mr. Atme will be found guilty in a matter of minutes. Guilty as Master Mask, which means
he will be innocent as far as the murder of Kane Bullard is concerned.
That's not how this works! No way! I mean, we could go ahead and find him guilty as Master Mask. He just stole the thing at another time.
The fact that you were unable to prove Mr. Atme's guilt of that crime here means he will never again be tried as Kane Bullard's murderer.
this is not how this works.
Now there's nothing I can possibly do to win. Even if Ron is proclaimed to be innocent, the real killer, Luke Atme, will go free.
I mean, he'll be in jail for the rest of his life, Phoenix. I think it's gonna be okay.
You have cross-examined every statement the witness made here today, and as long as there's no more testimony, I'm afraid I have to declare there will be no further questioning of this witness. Are there any objections?
Many.
Then I hereby end the cross-examination of Luke Atme.
I think I see it. Your Honor, when you were a child, this is what was on your report card every year. Has poor hearing and often makes mistakes as a result.
How did you?
Phoenix, raise your head up high. Have you forgotten what I used to tell you? A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets. That voice, no way.
So we're just gonna haunt the courtroom from now on, are we?
Long time no see, Phoenix. Mia. This is the true power of the Curane channeling technique. I know that it's really Maya who's standing before me, but right now she's my mentor, Mia Fey. Now, let's do this. But there's nothing more we can do, Mia. Without any more testimony, I can't cross-examine. Not yet. The testimony's not over yet. What do you mean?
Your Honor, just now you said something very interesting. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today.
Yes, that's true, but
Unfortunately, Your Honor, you're forgetting something. Earlier, after the last cross-examination, this witness made a number of remarks.
Well now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as Master Mask. My verdict will verify that, just as Ron Delights will verify he is the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness.
yes, but these comments appear to have no importance whatsoever.
Very well, then we shall prove their importance via cross-examination. At any rate, as long as the witness has made these remarks, we, the defense, assert our right to question them. Is that all right with you, prosecutor?
Is something the matter, Mr. Godot?
Nothing.
Do you know Mia?
Oh, Sir Lawyer, it looks like you're one step too late. If you think such falsehoods will do anything to me, Luke at...
Let's hear it.
Huh?
It's true. The witness made some remarks. So then, let's hear this last bit of cross-examination. You do know Mia, don't you?
Mr. Godot, what are you?
Very well then, Mr. Luke at me. I'm going to allow the defense to cross-examine your earlier remarks.
The defense would like to hear why you declared the defendant to be the true murderer.
So please give us one last bit of testimony.
Phoenix, this is it. This is our absolute last chance. Yes, Chief.
May I suggest some different clothes, Chief?
Okay. Indeed, it is true that I was not at Lord table. I had to leave to see about another vitally important job request. I had known about the date beforehand, so I had this photograph ready. My brilliant deduction was what informed me that the true culprit was Ron Delight. And thanks to the keycard and wallet, it was abundantly clear he was there. I was also able to make a deduction from the buzzer, which sounded only once. The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? The victim would have left prints if he sounded it, which means the killer sounded it. Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit, which is why he left no prints.
Wait. 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 Wait a second. Wait a second. How the fuck do you know that? Huh? How the fuck do you know that? Because we didn't even know that. Godot didn't know that. He didn't tell us that until court. Because, bless his heart, he's not very, he's not very, he's a sweet boy.
And the blackmail letter? The victim likely just mistook the color of the jewel. Zvar. Therefore, all evidence points to that poor boy.
This testimony actually seems to hold up pretty well.
The witness's earlier remarks do not appear to have been hastily prepared. All of his points have been examined and none seem to contradict anything.
But of course.
But how did you know about the emergency buzzer?
The police investigation documents went directly through me. And I always look over all the documents. It's elementary, Sir Lawyer.
Are you going to make even more trouble for us now, Sir Lawyer? I will not allow any of your usual shenanigans, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
We cannot postpone Luke Atmey's trial any longer. This is your last chance.
Hang on a second. Just one chance?
It seems the party's about to begin.
Well, Phoenix, there isn't any evidence that contradicts with the testimony. So it would seem. What do you mean, so it would seem? Listen, Phoenix. Pointing out contradictions doesn't always mean you have to present evidence, does it? At any rate, this is our last chance. If you can't point out a case-breaking contradiction, you lose. That's all there is to it.
Cup number 17. The last cup. It seems like the time has come to put an end to this trial.
I have to find a fatal contradiction in this testimony, and I need to point it out without presenting evidence. Which means all I can do is find a contradictory remark and press it. Remember, you only get one chance!
Well, fortunately I know what it is. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your final contradiction. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean.
That one. Mr. Atme, about this last remark.
Objection!
You still don't get it, do you, Wright? This isn't the time to be pressing the witness on every little statement.
I'm afraid you're the one who still doesn't get it, Mr. Godot. What? Mr. Atme, it seems you have finally admitted that you were in the CEO's office on the night of the murder. How can you say that? Let's review your testimony, shall we, Mr. Atme? The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? Mr. Delight was wearing his masked mask outfit. Is that correct? Indeed. That's what I said. My deductions are absolutely foolproof. More like your deductions prove that you're a fool. I'm sorry. Whatever do you mean?
For some reason, I'm starting to get really thirsty.
When exactly did we learn the fact that Ron Delight was dressed as Master Mask when he went to the scene of the crime?
That was,
It was just a few hours ago.
back when my sixth cup was looking at me with a cold stare.
Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now.
That's right! The defendant had yet to tell anyone else this fact before this morning. Therefore, the only people who should know about this are those who have been watching the trial. Do you understand now, Detective Atme? There is no way you should have known about that. You were the next courtroom, being tried as Master Mask. So then, enlighten us. Just how did you know that piece of information?
Objection!
Come on. The detective must have known about it. He probably had plenty of chances to find out beforehand.
And it's those chances I want to discuss next. That night, Mr. Delight was wearing his Mazda Mask outfit. There is one and only one way for Detective Atme to have found that out.
Only one? One way, you say?
Please recall, if you will, Mr. Delight's testimony.
When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there?
For a second, my client witnessed the real killer.
Objection!
But Mr. Delight never saw his attacker. So there's no way to tell whether or not the real killer was Luke Atlee.
It's with that statement that I'll turn this case on its head.
Just what are you implying?
Mr. Delight saw the real killer, correct? Now, if you turn that statement around, it stands to reason that the real killer had also seen Ron Delight.
Impossible.
Detective Atlee, you saw Mask to Mask at the murder scene that night. You saw him when you killed Kane Bullard and assaulted Ron Delight. That was the only way you could have known what Ron was wearing. What's happening? What's going on? He's laughing again.
Take a good look, everyone. Unable to find a rival worthy of my genius, I was forced to create one myself.
Did we not already do this?
Here I am, the tragic clown.
That's the same line you gave yesterday. But I think there's a little more meaning behind it this time. No, I'm pretty sure it's meaningless, Phoenix. Well, I'm happy for him, I guess. What an awfully complicated incident. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Atlee, who was in turn blackmailing Ron Delight. And upon killing his blackmailer, Luke Atlee tried to frame Ron Delight. He then claimed to be guilty as Mask to Mask in order to escape his true crime. And to that end, he came up with this plan. This terrible, ridiculous plan that wouldn't have saved him from jail time whatsoever. To use the double jeopardy rule when making his alibi. No, but seriously, this case makes no sense. We all agree with that, right? At any rate, it would seem we finally found the truth. Excuse me. I came perilously close to besmirching the record of an innocent young man. Besmirching him with the title of murderer. Don't ignore me! Oh, I didn't realize you were there. I really feel you deserve that, Ron, I'm not gonna lie. Why wouldn't he be?
perfect. I know. You never committed any murder.
That's right. I'm so glad you understand that. But I really am Master Mask. Huh? So, thanks to that trial yesterday, I'm innocent now, right? I mean, only of the urn. There's still like 4 or 5 other Master Mask crimes to deal with. Not gonna lie. What was it you said? Double jeopardy?
Now that you mention it.
I've been careless.
That's not how this works. You don't try someone for the crime of being Mask to Mask. You try them for the crime of stealing this or that or the other. Mask to Mask has stolen several things. You have been found not guilty for one of them. That doesn't mean you've been found not guilty for all of them. Careless. What do you think, Mia? As the defendant says, the rule of double jeopardy is absolute. A defendant can never be tried twice for a crime in which he was once found innocent. Then, Mask to Mask is really innocent? No. It means we can't try him again for the sacred urn. That doesn't mean he's innocent. Good grief, you people! It's not this hard! For now. Now then, the court finds this defendant. Oh, go ahead. But that's not how any of this works. Don't ignore me! Boy, this is really lucky. Child, I hope you thank whatever God you worship. Because none of this made any sense. None of it made any sense. Like, if you're going to frame someone, why would he not just make up a real alibi for himself instead of the only way I can see this working is maybe... Okay, we can make this work. I don't know if I want to. So, several days in advance of the murder, Look at Me recorded himself stealing the urn with a fake Mask to Mask costume that didn't have the special clasp on it that what's his face usually wore.
if he could have gotten the guards to show up for to collect Ron, then he could have just let the mask-to-mask thing drop and been like, oh yeah, he was so scared of me that he didn't even bother to show up. Since they didn't show up to take Ron into custody, he was forced to actually well, it's not like he came forward. He didn't. It was we accused him of. So okay. I guess that sort of works. It still feels like, why wouldn't you just again come up with a real goddamn alibi and stick with that, as opposed to this mess, which honestly seems like it's just trying to fall apart. But okay. It wasn't like he went into this thinking, genius, I'll get myself arrested for multiple counts of grand larceny and everything will be lovely forever. Because that part is the part where I'm like, wait, what? So, okay, that's something, I guess. It's weird, though. What a very, very weird episode that was. And I get that they wanted to do something kind of cool with Double Jeopardy, but that's not how Double Jeopardy works, so... Okay.
Boy, this is really lucky. Wait, this isn't so good after all. You see, this thing is, I still am mask to mask.
Yes, we know, hun.
You did it, Phoenix. Thanks, Mia. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Yeah, it's because Maya doesn't call on me much these days. Maybe that's a good thing, hun? You're a ghost. Like, I feel like maybe you should be moving on at some point. Not to be rude. But, seriously, go! Oh? I'm just joking, Phoenix. Don't take everything so seriously. But on the other hand, Maya, she seems kind of torn these days. You mean about becoming the master of the Korean channeling school? Becoming the master means saying goodbye to our mother. Misty Faye, right? Watch over her, will you, Phoenix? Of course. Well then, see you around. Mia. Mr. Wright. I don't know what to say.
Congratulations, Mr. Delight.
Thank you so much. No, wait. Nothing really matters anymore, though. Now that all this has happened.
Come on, just be happy already! Maya, you've been cleared of the murder charges and got off as Master to boot!
But in exchange, I lost everything.
Huh? What do you mean?
Stealing security information from KB Security, becoming Mask to Mask. I did it all for one reason. For her.
You mean your wife, Desiree?
She hates criminals more than anything.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have done that, buddy. That's rough. Come to think of it, she was once held hostage by some robbers, wasn't she?
She always said how she hated sneaky criminals. I knew that. But once I got fired from KB Security and lost all the money I had, she wouldn't have any reason to stay with me. I thought she would leave me for sure.
So that's why you became Mask to Mask?
Yes, but it's all over now. A broken bowl can never be put back together.
Patience.
That's not true, right, Nick?
Right.
Really? Can we go back to the way things were?
You'll be fine! And Nick can prove it! Can? I kind of wish you would check with me first. Mr. Delight, even if a bowl is broken, there's always a way to put it back together. What the heck am I supposed to do with this kid? Am I supposed to show him the sacred urn that got glued up? I guess.
Take that!
The sacred urn. Desi was the one who found this.
Desiree, your wife, has always believed in you, Ron. That's why you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything.
Ah, there you are.
Miss Delight.
You did it, Ronnie. You're innocent. I'm so happy. Thank you. I appreciate that. But, I suppose you don't want anything more to do with me, do you?
Ronnie, why didn't you talk to me about what's going on?
I had no idea you'd quit KB Security. I never imagined that you were really Mask to Mask either.
Miss Delight, what are you going to do now that you know?
You're not really going to leave him, are you?
Come on, it's obvious, isn't it?
How could I ever let a wonderful man like him get away? After all, my bike's really fast. So fast, there's no way he could ever get away.
As long as you two kids are happy, that's really all that matters. I don't care. Do I think you two should be together? No. Do I care if you guys are or not? Not really. Like, I have no emotional investment in this whatsoever. So, can I leave? Didn't you say you hated criminals? She is one! I mean, we can discuss whether speeding laws should exist and what form they should take, but she is one by any reasonable metric.
Huh? Oh, I only hate people who act all cowardly and sneaky.
Like that detective. I see. And that's the moment where Phoenix reached my level of do not care. My Ronnie went and declared his crimes before he committed them, like a man. I just love a man who's so chivalrous. Chivalrous? I knew I was right about you. Every day I spend with you is filled with thrills and excitement. Desi. Desiree, you really do love Ron, don't you? Nicky boy, yes. I'm really glad I asked you to defend my Ronnie. Thank you so much. I'll never forget what you've done for us. Oh, well, take care of yourself. You too, Nicky boy. I can feel my face going red. Mr. Nick, Mystic Maya, congratulations. Talk about bad timing. Mr. Nick, how could you? With another man's wife in front of Mystic Maya. I'll never forgive you. That's getting kind of old. I'm not gonna lie. That's getting really freaking old. So just as the case came to a close, so too did my consciousness. Ron said a broken bowl can never be put back together. It turns out that's only true for my face. But I know that's not true. I mean, just look. Yeah, that was the point, I thought. It's a good picture, though. I like that picture of them, they're really cute. Here's a perfect example of one that was put back together even better than before. That's a cute picture. I like that picture. So that was episode 2, and I am so sorry that it took us so long to get through it. It had a lot of twists and turns. Complicated ones. We still don't know who Godot is. I am convinced he knew Mia in some way. It's just kind of weird that he's the only one who's ever reacted to her showing up in court. Because we do know that the showing up in court thing, is seen by everybody, not just by Phoenix. I thought Phoenix was the only one who saw it for a while. That was why I thought nobody else reacted. But no, she's showing up, and the judge just isn't reacting at all to the fact that the gal that used to work in his courtroom just showed up and is talking, and nobody ever notices that, which is amazing, really. But anyway, I'm convinced that whoever Godot is, he knew or knows Mia. I keep getting their names mixed up. But okay, yeah. So that was that. It was not my favorite case. I won't lie. It was not my favorite case. Because, it was just a little bit too twisty-turny. It was a lot. It was a lot of like, of what? Why? How come? And I think I finally understand why it happened the way it did. I've been sitting here trying to kind of force my brain around it. And it's like, okay, all right, I gotcha. I think I understand it. But phew, I don't. I think in many ways of all the cases we've done, that may have been the one where it took me the longest to like figure out, what the heck, like why and how come and what for, and I finally got there, but it felt like, and maybe it was just because we took so many breaks. I guess that's possible. But there was, I don't know, there was just a lot of points where I was like, why? So I just, it seems like if you have the time and the ability to set up an alibi in advance of a murder, why wouldn't you just set up a good alibi where you don't have to go to jail for... It seems like this one treated jail for felony theft as like getting off from when realistically I'm not really sure how much different the prison sentences would be. I mean, you don't maybe go to death row, so that's nice. But realistically, is it much better? I don't know. So that just kind of felt, I guess it felt weird seeing that treated as kind of a no big deal alternative to murder jail, because it seems like it would still kind of be a big fucking deal. So yeah, that's strange to me, but it's fine. It's fine. But that was episode, gosh, that was episode 2. So we got 3 more episodes here. So that'll be exciting. And I will see you in them. And look, listen, I did 2 episodes in a row, and my voice is still fine. That's so exciting. That's really exciting. It was kind of upsetting that my voice cracked so easily in the last one, but no, I'm doing great. So whatever I was fighting, it is gone. So that makes me happy too. So I'm happy for many, many reasons. I will see you in the next video. Once again, my name is Anna Mardal, and thank you for watching and subscribing. Bye-bye.